Welcome back to Queen's Mindset. If this is your first time joining us, welcome as we continue this 12-part series of 12 powerful stories. Today, I have with me Pearl-ann Bartlett, and she has another powerful story that she's going to share with us so soon. So before we go any further, guys, remember, if you have not done this before, go right ahead, just down below, and remember to subscribe, like, and share, and comment as well. So let's go right into it. Pearl-ann, welcome to Queen's Mindset. This is your first time. How are you?
Hello. I am good. I'm well. I'm happy to be here and happy to share in this space with you.
Yes, awesome. So as we dive into your story, can you tell us a little bit about Pearl-ann? Who is Pearl-ann?
Pearl-ann is a wife. She is an entrepreneur. She's a creative. She is very pioneering. I like to do things that no one has done before, especially if no one has done it before. I like to do it. Feel as if there is room for that, so somebody else can benefit from it coming along after me. So if I don't pioneer and do this thing that doesn't exist, then somebody that's coming after me may be deprived of the value that that thing is if I did do it. So I like to consider myself as a pioneer.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so your story is talking about self-image and identity. So tell us a little bit about that struggle that you had with self-image.
Well, I would say coming up, I don't think I had a challenge with self-image, right? Because I believe from a very young age, my parents spoke into my life. I had people around me that spoke into my life. And then I just grew up in an environment that was positive towards being fearfully and wonderfully made. And I saw that in the Word of God as well. And I claimed it as my own. And whenever I look in the mirror, I was like, gosh, girl, you're pretty. And gosh, girl, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And so as I grew up, that was definitely, and still is, one of I held dear to myself. So I never really had a problem with self-image from the outward standpoint. And I don't even think from like, because self-image also is internal, like in my mind, like how do I think about myself? So I may look good or I may feel I look good, but do I really have positive thoughts towards myself or towards other people? And so I would say that before 2010, I was on a high vibration of just believing and claiming for myself that I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and I am confident in my body and who I am. And then 2010 came when I was diagnosed with a condition called lymphedema, which is a swelling in any of the limbs. Mine occurs in my left leg. And it started very small and everything, but as it progressed and it grew, because it's a chronic condition, then I began to have like these challenges now with how I saw my body, because the left leg is apparently different from in size than my right leg. And growing up, I mean, I'm grateful that I didn't go through secondary school with this. In this journey, I have a friend of mine who she has lymphedema as well, and she had to go through secondary school with it. And so I told what her challenge would have been. But for me, although I didn't go through secondary school where you gotta wear skirts and bodice and your feet are out, I challenge because the career path that I chose at the time, which was dance, is very visible. And so I was in a real struggle in how I accepted my body in a packaging that I didn't think was acceptable for the industry, or in a packaging that I didn't even know or welcome for myself. Like, I didn't ask for this, but now it's coming on me. And that was a definite struggle for me.
Wow. So you talked about your dancing and so on. So was it difficult for you to be able to dance with that condition? I mean, you're still dancing now, of course, but how was that journey for you?
I would say that it wasn't difficult to dance with it from a physical, because the condition doesn't hurt me physically, so it's not painful, but it did hurt me emotionally. So from that place, it was a challenge to dance with it, because whether the costume or the garment that you had to wear was, something that was just a shorts and a leotard, or just different things, or just even in class where you have to stand and there are mirrors plastered all around the studio. It's like, it's constantly in your face. And then the comparison thing then can kick in where you go like, but I am the only person that looks like this and everybody looks quote unquote normal. And I also, it did not challenge me like physically in terms of pain, but I did have some emotional challenges with that, because it was not what I saw for myself at all. Because the leg is swollen with lymph fluid, it is heavier sometimes, and I get management and everything for it, and medical care for it. But when it's heavy, then the way I can elevate the leg, I can't as much as I would do a leg that is normally in weight, etc. So there were challenges then, and I still press through, because I really believe that was part of my purpose and part of who I am, and I needed to still do it. So yeah.
Wow. So, okay. So how long did it take for you to, accept the fact that, you know what, I'm different and that's okay? How long did that take for you?
I would say I was in denial. I say 2010 is when it began. And like I said, it didn't really develop until I would say 2012. 2012 is when it started to really like show itself within my leg. And for me, I was at a place of, this is going away. I prayed about it. I fasted. We got everybody together, my parents, prayer warriors, just everybody was on board of just trying to like, not even trying, but just believing God for healing and believing God for this condition to be removed from my life and removed from my leg and whatnot. And so it was very interesting to see that not being answered, so to speak. And at that point in time, I thought it wasn't being answered. But over time of being in a relationship with God, you get to learn, and He speaks to you when you're in a place to listen. About how things can be purposeful that we don't think have value, right? So for me, it was coming to a place of accepting. So I was in denial for at least 3 years, I would say, of just like, this is going away, this is going away. So I'm going to go to all the doctors. I'm going to go and get all the information to find whatever the cure is, and this is going away. I want it gone. So I would go to sleep, praying, wake up in the morning, it's still there. So for me, that constant anticipation of not seeing the manifestation of what I was praying for and believing for took me in a downward spiral of denial, because it was like, okay, this is not happening to me. This is not happening to me. And so even now when I think back of it, like, you can't be in denial and expect to see the manifestation of something. It's just not going to work. And so over time, I came to a place of acceptance when I found purpose in my condition, because then there's so many people that have it, although it's a rare condition, and they wearing, like, I used to wear long pants and baggy skirts and just everything, maxi dresses, like everything cover it, because I didn't like how it looked. I didn't want nobody looking at me. And if you looked at me too hard, I just ain't coming out to my room, not even. That was where I was at. But when I realized that, listen, if, just going back to what I said about being a pioneer, if I don't something different about this, somebody who has this condition, or somebody who is not even born yet that comes up with this condition, they need to know that life continues. That found in something that is chronic, and it can be an impact to somebody else.
Wow. I like what you said about when you said not coming out of your room. So like, how did people react when they saw you?
Well, to be very I found even to this day that people are very nice. People are very nice. In that they're different categories. Some mean well. So they say, but I didn't even realize that your foot was thing. And I mean, I get it to some extent, but really, you really didn't see this? Like, it's bigger. Like, how could you see it? You know? But then there's some that they don't know what else to say, so they're going, you know, but you carry it so well. And I mean, that could be a compliment, but to me, some days it's just, I mean, before, like, no, I don't, I really don't care. But person's reactions initially, because when it started for me, I was going to school overseas, university overseas, and who were supportive and, you know, just really encouraging. But I would see people looking. I would see people like going like, what is going on there? That's what I would think they're saying, you know? But I never had any situations where people spoke ill of me, at least to my face, and told me like, you real ugly, or you were getting out with that big elephant foot, and like nothing like that. I never got those, at least to my face. But you know, I'm at a place now in my life where I've accepted it, and I'm definitely about bringing awareness to the condition. So let's talk about it.
Good. So at any point did you, because I know you said you prayed about it and stuff, but any point did you blame your family or blame God, or like, did you ever had any moment like, oh my God, did I just do something? Why me? You know?
For sure. I blamed myself, right? I blamed myself because I felt like I had done something wrong. If I had only, if I didn't, I started myself, and really that is what that's what caused the confidence to start to erode and chip away, because I am the type of person that I'm a thinker. I go inward in terms of how I process things and everything before I can even open my mouth to say anything. So that's where the enemy try to attack me. He's not going to try to attack me from other things external. He's going to come from my mind, because he knows that's where I have a lot of my great breakthroughs. And so it was a challenge for me to wrestle with that, because I felt it was my fault. And then I didn't blame any of my family members, because I knew that they are always for me. So I was not in any way blaming anybody. I blamed myself, and I also blamed God, because I was like, after all this, and this is the thing you told me I'm going to be doing. I'm going to influence the world through dance, and I'm going to do this. Like, you spoke these things over my life. Like, I came up dancing in church. Ooh, everything. I have the certifications and everything. So like, this is not adding up. Like, what is going on? You know? Those are the two people I blamed. But you know, I came to the realization, because although I blamed him, I didn't run from him. I didn't run from him, although I blamed him. And that might be weird to some to grasp. But I still believed that there was something he was doing, although I didn't know what it was. So the person I blamed was myself.
Wow. So so we know that you are married now and everything. So when did you meet your Boaz? Was it after that, or did you meet him before?
I met my Boaz after my condition began to develop. So I met Fabian, my husband, Pearl-ann Bartlett, lovely man. I met him in 2015. So when lymphedema started for me, it was in 2010. So that was about 5 years. So at that point in time, like, I would do really well at blending in with my environment, right? Or try to do something that does not show it or make it obvious. Like, no, I still do that to some extent, but I'm getting even more comfortable with just being however, you know? In 2015, and we got married in 2019. So we're actually celebrating our second anniversary on Wednesday.
Oh, wow.
And so that was something I struggled with before I got married. And before I met Fabian too, because I was, I don't know who is going to love all of this, right? Like, I was at the place where I had accepted it. So I had that so well, to the point where, like, whoever comes, this what I come with. But I was at a place where I was going, like, somebody has to be out there that is going to, like, I wasn't living at that place. I was living at, I have accepted it. Whoever comes along, God accepts it too. Yeah, but I don't know if they will. This might be a take on, because there's management that I have to do for it, like on a daily, on a weekly, sometimes on a monthly basis. Like it's a lot. It's, you know, a cut. It's a chronic condition that will always be in my life as long as God has it manifesting here in the physical realm. And so I would say that it was a struggle for me to accept that Fabian was now coming into my life and willing to embrace that element of me. And that was really amazing. And it so blesses me to this day because he didn't have to, but it shows the nature of the man that he is and the nature of the person that God placed in my life. And I'm forever grateful for that and for him.
Wow. So how did you guys meet?
We met at Pearl-ann Barbershop, which is a very well-known barbershop here in Barbados. So at the point in time, I'd cut my locks off. So this is the second set of locks I'm growing. And cut it off. So I was in the barbershop with my brother. Get his hair rounded up and stuff. And because my hair was like in a short, natural, like afro, like I went to get part put in and that kind of stuff. And I was sitting there minding my own business. I did notice Fabian from afar, like, you know, he had all the physique and stuff going on for me that I admired. And so I far off, but Pearl wasn't even going to be starting a conversation because at that place in my life, I wasn't interested in a relationship with anybody. And so he came over to me where I was sitting and he started the conversation. We started talking. We realized that we had a lot of things in common and there started the friendship. But we only really started to not intentionally, but we were friends casually in and out, just chatting, whatever. But we really took an intentional turn towards the time we were taking to talk to each other in 2017. So many different confirmations and things happened between 2015 and 2017 that we could go in a whole other conversation about. But yeah, he's my sweetheart.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So did you still struggle then with your image after the fact that you guys were married? Did you still have challenges in terms of, because I know you said you were very, you know, you were like, oh wow, he actually accepts me for me. But did you have any, you know, thoughts that was still not come in and out your mind, you know, like what if later on he changes his mind or he realizes that he doesn't, you know, what did anything like that ever came up?
You know, certain phases, and then you ask questions. You ask questions to dispel that narrative that you want to tell yourself, and also accept that people are people, and I can't place my confidence in him. My confidence in God, right? And so, as much as I want him to be committed to that promise that Fabian, to that promise that he gave me in you know, loving me for who I am and embracing all of me, not even like, you don't even see my leg, like, and I just be like, how can you not, you know, at first, but no, like, it's totally fine, like, you know, he's my husband and I love him, and so I am open with my entire life with him, my entire being, etc. So it's like, you know, I know that he's here for me, and because of that, I just trust and believe that. And I put that out there. I put that frequency out there other than something else.
Okay, good. So what would you want to tell someone who may be going through a similar condition and they're at that beginning stages, or maybe they might have already happened for quite some time, but they're still struggling with the way how they see themselves? What would be your advice to that person?
Wow, that's a good question. And I love it because it just helps me to say to somebody that I was in your shoes, where I would, and I still am in some areas of my life, where I'm always looking and listening out for encouragement and inspiration and motivation and just different little nuggets to help you go forward and to bring confirmation to your life. So I understand. And from that point of view, and I'm super honored and privileged that I get to share a little something with you, because I remember looking up to somebody who was speaking and going like, wow, that's amazing, you know? So I'm glad, first of all, that I get to be that for somebody else, and I'm not taking it lightly. Like the mere fact that I said that, I'm not taking it lightly. And so I really want to tell you that may have this condition or something like it, that your imperfection is your weapon. Your imperfection is your weapon.
Mm-hmm.
How you choose to use your weapon, if you choose to use your weapon, is totally up to you. God is not going to come down and use your weapon for you. He's going to show you that's your weapon. He's going to show you how you can use it, but he will never take it up and fight it for you. Yeah. And many times we are looking for God to heal us, to take it away, when it's the same very thing that he wants to use to bring about change in many other person's lives, not just my own. So when you call for healing, or when you ask for healing, sometimes it's like for you. So I could feel better about myself. So I don't have to deal with the challenges each month that I have to go through with this. But so that's for me. But yeah, and so we may say, you know, I want to be healed so I can tell everybody that you are a healer. Like God doesn't need that.
Yeah.
God need that. He's God all by himself.
Yeah.
So really and truly, he wants us to become the individuals that he's placed here on the earth before, like he's formed us in our mother's wombs before we even. And so it's really good to know that your imperfection, the thing that you think makes you imperfect, that's your weapon, and you got to take it up and use it and leverage it to impact other people's lives.
Wow, that's really good. That's really good. Oh gosh, we're running out of time, so we're coming close to the end. But I have to ask, what do you like to do for fun?
I like to have a good laugh. That's the honest truth. I love to be around my brothers. I have two brothers, one younger. I really love to be around my brothers. Like they are the bomb, right? And so I like to be around them for fun, and my family and everything. Like we just kick and things. So I like to be around my family. I also like to listen to music and just be in a creative space. So I would do that for fun. Like I would have a book, I would be listening to music, and I would be drawing out a choreography or just different things like that. I like driving about. I like going places and just seeing sights, seeing nature, and just like not having to do nothing. Yeah. Right. And for fun, I also like to I would say eat, but I could definitely with a good outing and a good, chill time and stuff like that. But I'd say for me, what brings me most joy many times is just being around people that I love and having fun.
Nice. Okay. So my final question for you is, how do you want people to see you? When they see you, how do you want them to see you?
Whoa. I want to see Pearl as a confident woman. I want when you see me, you see confidence. You see somebody that is walking in all that they were placed on the earth to be. So you may see that as Pearl being a wife. You may see that as Pearl being an entrepreneur and a business person. You may see that as Pearl being a lady with lymphedema, like whoever, like whatever you pull from my life, like whatever you get from it, I want you to get confidence coming out at you or coming through me and going through you. So I want to be known for somebody who lived a confident life. I have a dance school, Pearl's Dance Academy, and it's birthed from a place of helping our dancers, helping our students, whether they go on to become dancers or not. Dance is the vehicle that brings about some confidence in some people. Like they get even more strength, more realization about their capabilities and stuff like that. And it's all about the development of the pearl inside of a person. And so I feel like when you own your pearl, when you own that greatness that you have and the value that you have, that's where your confidence lays. Like it's in you, you have it. And so I want people to like be touched by the confidence that I have lived my life and shown throughout my activities.
Wow. Okay. That is so good. Oh, wow. I wish we had some more time, but I really enjoyed our conversation. I think there are great nuggets here. I'm sure you guys that are watching, you have gotten so much value from everything that Pearl-ann has shared with us today. But before we close out, Pearl-ann, I want you to tell us how can, if someone is watching and they're interested in being a part of your dance academy, how can they find you? Give us some details so that they can go right ahead and start following.
Sure, no problem. Find us on Instagram, Pearls Dance Academy. That's our handle at Pearls Dance Academy. You can find me at Pearl-ann Bartlett. You can find us online, pearlsdanceacademy.com. Like, just put in Pearls Dance Academy and you'll find everything you need to know about me and about Pearls Dance Academy.
Lymphedema is essentially a buildup of excess or too much lymphatic fluid because of damage to the lymphatic channels that drain this fluid. In the United States, the most common cause of lymphedema is damage to these lymphatic channels as a result of surgical treatment of cancer that's necessary to remove lymph nodes to prevent the spread of cancer. About 20 to 30% of patients that require this lymph node removal for treatment of cancer will develop lymphedema. The most common symptom of lymphedema is swelling of the affected area, swelling and pain actually of the affected area. Other common symptoms include achiness, heaviness of the affected region, abnormal sensations like pins and needles or shooting pains. Lymphedema can also make it easier for skin infections to set in, and in this situation, patients will have redness and swelling, sometimes fevers and flu-like symptoms. Lymphedema is generally a clinical diagnosis, and what that means is that we diagnose is based on the symptoms like swelling and pain that patients present with. To confirm the diagnosis and plan for surgery, there are other tests that we can do. The most common of this is called lymphangiography. And in this test, we inject a dye underneath the skin and look under a special light to see how well the lymphatic system is working. So this helps us confirm diagnosis and can also help us plan for surgery. There are generally two ways lymphedema is treated, non-surgically and surgically. Treatment generally begins with non-surgical treatment, and what that entails is physical therapy to decrease the swelling, therapy to make sure that the joints of the shoulder, the elbow, the hands don't get stiff, and skincare to prevent infections from happening. This treatment works for some people, and they don't need anything else. But for those that don't get enough symptom relief from physical therapy, we consider surgical treatment. And the surgical treatments in general are based on either fixing the lymphatic system to drain the excess fluid or removing the damaged tissue that has resulted from lymphedema. In general, the two different paths, surgical paths for treating lymphedema are: one, fixing the lymphatic system, or two, removing the damaged tissue that results from lymphedema. For fixing the lymphatic system, there are two ways we can do this. One is to connect the lymphatic system to the venous system to help drain the excess fluid that has accumulated as a result of lymphedema. The other method is to harvest functioning lymph nodes from one part of the body and transfer them to the part of the body that's affected by lymphedema to also fix the drainage system. On the other hand, if the lymphedema has progressed to the point where fixing the lymphatic system is not going to work, the focus is on removing the damaged tissue from lymphedema to provide relief, to provide symptom relief for patients. The recovery from lymphedema surgery differs based on what kind of surgery patients get. Generally, for patients that get operations that remove the damaged tissue from lymphedema, recovery is a little bit more involved because it involves more extensive wound care, and it involves more extensive care of the surgical site in terms of the fact that patients have to do wraps to keep the swelling down, and this can keep them from getting back to their activities of daily living for longer. For patients that undergo operations to fix the system, like the venous bypasses or the lymph node transfers, recovery is generally quicker. In fact, for the bypass operations, it's day surgery. Patients come in and leave the same day of the operation, and they can generally get back to their activities of daily living within a few days. For the lymph node transfers, it requires a short hospitalization because we need to make sure that the transfer tissue is alive and working where we transferred it to. But after the patient leaves the hospital, the time to return to activities of daily living is usually within a few days.
How it feels to have lymphedema, it's like a blessing and a curse. The very first time I posted a photo on Instagram, I was so scared to put that photo out there. It's important to not hide my legs because this is who I am. My name is Monique and I have lymphedema. I was not born with lymphedema. I got lymphedema when I was 12 years old. Lymphedema is the swelling of, well, a blockage in the lymphatic system or a disruption in the lymphatic system that causes swelling in a body part. For me, it's in my legs. My mom noticed the swelling, and then the swelling kept progressing. I visited a lot of doctors. Like I said, we went to about 6 hospitals. It took approximately about 6 months before I got a diagnosis. This is the shorts part, the trunk part that I put on. And then I have one for each leg. So what it does, it simulates manual lymph draining. You know, it's great if you have help, but I usually don't. Then there is certain surgeries. I have had over 12 surgeries in relation to lymphedema. And it definitely has helped me get to where I am now. So my first scar is right here. I had a section hanging out here, so I have another scar right here. I have a scar going down the back of my calf. I have another scar from here because my thigh was big like this. And that's on my left leg. If I wrap my legs, that's a whole maybe 30-40 minute process. By the evening, not wearing any wraps, I could be 267. So I can gain 7 pounds of fluid in just an 8 to 12 hour period of no stockings. All right. Every day, lymphedema is definitely a challenge. It's not like, oh, I can get up and go and just do whatever. I have to plan, and it sometimes can slow me down. I get stares, you know, adults will stare, little kids will stare. So sometimes it would make me feel uncomfortable depending on the scenario where that somebody's like staring at me and they're not like staring at my face, they're staring at my legs. The very first time I posted a photo on Instagram, I was so scared. I posted like, hey, life has to change. This is who I am. And I got so many likes that shocked me. After that, I wasn't scared anymore.
My big leg doesn't hurt, but I definitely feel the weight of it. It makes you like want to hide like in a shell because the world is already looking at you kind of like a freak of nature. I finally had the thought, Mahogany, it's time for you to put yourself out there. I love wearing dresses, and trust me, they all show my legs, but do I care? No. It's this all white dress. It's showing the leg, but I like it because I got a little bit of a body in it, you know? A little bit curves, a little something, something. But the clothes I find difficult, jeans, man, when I swear that is the hardest thing to come by is like a regular pair of jeans. So I got a lot of like leggings or like stretchy kind of pants. I go for like the biggest size, and if it fits this leg, I just go with it. Yeah, beauty to me is embracing everything about yourself, every flaw, every imperfection, and looking at it as part of who you are and what makes you beautiful. Walk with confidence. I promise you, once you push yourself past your limit, you will find how easy life can be.
Bend is good girl and yes, and bend the knees and squeeze. Like that leg. Good girl and bring it in. Then good. Now here we go again. Bend the knees, diamond shape, squeeze. And bend the knees, diamond shape, squeeze. And get taller than that pearl. Bend the knees, get taller than me. Yes. Now stretch the slide out to the side. Put the heel down. Onto my elbows and bend the knees and taller than me. Good. Bend the knees and taller than me. Yes. Bend the knees and squeeze. Stretch the slide nice and long and close it in. Good girl. Big smile. I can't hear you. Okay. I want to hear every single girl. All right, so here we go. Get those legs together. Come. Up, sit up tall. No hands don't rest on y'all. You know that's that big. Here we go. Good. So every.
So in this 12-part series, you'll hear stories about a single mother dealing with a quadruple amputee. You'll hear the stories of the journey to purity. You'll hear the stories about brokenness that led to wholeness. You'll hear the stories about facing imperfections. You'll hear the stories of how prison led to purpose. You'll hear the stories about fertility issues and how that rendered them barren. You'll hear the stories about domestic violence. You'll hear the stories of how a miscarriage saved a life. You'll hear the stories about dealing with insecurities and finding your identity. You'll hear the story of how a headache led to a coma. You'll hear the stories about a fatal accident that almost cost a daughter her life. You'll hear the stories about dealing with suicide and a tumor.
So Pearl, thank you again for coming, and guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you comment down below, and also make sure that you subscribe and you like this video, and you also share it with someone who can also gain from this. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Bye.
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 Bye.